free agency has been full of drama. Superstars have swapped teams, role players landed massive deals on the open market, and many teams' key needs were addressed heading into the draft. All of those major changes mean big impacts on the upcoming 2019 NFL Draft. Marvin Fong, the Plain DealerBut: how exactly have 2 weeks of signings impacted teams' needs? Who will look to the draft after swinging and missing on players in the open market? And where will the brightest young stars be heading to start their NFL careers? Here is our latest 2-round projection. First round, here's a pick-by-pick look at all 32 selections from day 1 of the NFL Draft. Point 1, Arizona Cardinals, QB Kyler Murray, Oklahoma. There's been so much hype around Murray potentially going no. 1 that it can't all just be pre-draft bluster, right? Cliff Kingsbury is a college guy, so it's easy to envision him wanting the latest college success story under his wing so they can start their NFL journeys together. Point 2, San Francisco 49ers, edge Nick Bosa, Ohio State. If the Cardinals don't take Bosa, then the 49ers may as well. Bosa has been the consensus number 1 pick for months now, and the only thing that could seemingly keep him out of that spot is Murray. San Francisco would be thrilled to see him slide. Trade: Washington Redskins received number 3 overall pick. New York Jets received number 15 overall pick, number 46 overall pick, second round, no. 208 overall pick, 6th round, 2020 first round pick, and 2020 second round pick. Analysis: the Redskins have to get aggressive here because their quarterback situation is hideous. There are only 2 top-tier options in this draft, Murray and Dwayne Haskins, so the Redskins will jump at the chance to land 1.3, Washington Redskins, QB Dwayne Haskins, Ohio State case. Keenum and Colt McCoy certainly are not the answers at quarterback, so the Redskins make a move here to find a guy who could become their franchise face for years to come. They'll have to give up a lot to do it. The Point 4, Oakland Raiders, D.L. Quinnen Williams, Alabama. Raiders defense needs a serious upgrade, and Williams may be the best overall defensive player in the draft. He's been compared to the Rams' Aaron Donald. Sounds like something the Raiders could certainly use. Who couldn't? 5. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, CB Greedy Williams, LSU new defensive coordinator Todd Bowles needs weapons as he tries to get the Buccaneers out of the basement of the defensive rankings. Williams is a playmaker and would be a good start to rebuilding the defense. Point 6, New York Giants, edge Josh Allen, Kentucky. No quarterback? No quarterback. The Giants have options now that they have 2 first-round draft picks. With the first of the 2, they focus on the defense, which took a serious hit by losing Olivier Vernon and Landon Collins. Point 7, Jacksonville Jaguars, WRDK. Metcalf, Ole Miss. The Jaguars spent the money to invest in quarterback Nick Foles, and now it's time to find him a top-tier target to throw it to. Metcalf is a total freak of nature and should be fun to watch in northern Florida for years to come. Point 8, Detroit Lions, TJ Hawkinson, Iowa. Lions have a need at tight end and they're in luck. This draft class is loaded with terrific ones. But Hawkinson is the best of the bunch because of his ability to get the job done in both when he's running routes and when he's doing the dirty work of blocking. Point 9, Buffalo Bills, CB Byron Murphy. Washington Bills focused heavily on their offense by adding quarterback Josh Allen last season and upgrading their wideouts and offensive line in free agency. Now they do the defense some favors and complement their signing of fellow cornerback Kevin Johnson by drafting Murphy. 10. Denver Broncos, LB Devin White, LSF. Broncos are definitely in the market for linebackers, particularly speedy ones. White is a good fit and will help Vic Fangio build the kind of defense he had with the Bears. Point 11, Cincinnati Bengals, DL Ed Oliver. Houston Bengals have a lot of work to do, but rebuilding their defense is certainly a big part of that. Oliver is terrific at getting penetration from his interior defensive line spot and would be a huge upgrade. Point 12, Green Bay Packers, OT Jonah Williams, Alabama. What better way to help quarterback Aaron Rodgers than to protect him? Williams is the most technically sound defensive tackle in the draft and should make an instant impact up front. Point 13, Miami Dolphins, QB Drew Lock. Missouri Dolphins undoubtedly need a new quarterback now that Ryan Tannehill is gone. They missed out on the top 2 prospects early on, but they can still roll the dice on a solid prospect here. 14. Atlanta Falcons, edge Montez Sweat, Mississippi State. There's always at least one surprise player who slips each year. Sweat is that guy after testing terrifically at the NFL Combine. But the Falcons sure aren't complaining. 15. New York Jets, edge Brian Burns, Florida State. After trading back to the middle of the first round in order to pick up that haul of picks, the Jets fill a major need in the pass rush with this selection. It's the most obvious deficiency on this team right now. 16. Carolina Panthers, OL Cody Ford, Oklahoma Panthers could stand to protect Cam Newton better, though that goes for just about every team's offensive line. Carolina actually takes some action and grabs one of the draft's best linemen here. 17. New York Giants, edge Rashawn Gary, Michigan. Gary tests great, but he didn't do much of anything in college, so he understandably falls a bit. The Giants take advantage and keep their defensive rebuild going with eyes on finding a quarterback elsewhere. Spoiler alert. 18. Minnesota Vikings, Michael Dieter, Wisconsin. Another team opts to upgrade its offensive line. Maybe some less time under pressure would help Kirk Cousins actually find his rhythm in year 2 with the Vikings. 19. Tennessee Titans, DL Christian Wilkins, Clemson. Titans could use some pass rushing prowess with Derek Morgan testing free agency. It may come at a different position, but Wilkins knows how to be a menace in the backfield. 20. Pittsburgh Steelers, CB DeAndre Baker, Georgia. Eventually the Steelers are going to need a replacement for Joe Hayden. They find one here in Baker, who was a turnover machine over the past 3 seasons in college. 21. Seattle Seahawks, OT Jawan Taylor, Florida. Russell Wilson spent a whole lot of time peeling himself off the turf last season. Adding Taylor should help alleviate at least some of that problem for 2019 and beyond. 22. Baltimore Ravens, LB Devin Bush, Michigan. Ravens have a gaping hole at linebacker now that C.J. Mosley is with the Jets. They find their heir apparent in the first round and plug Bush straight into that spot. 23. Houston Texans, OL Dalton Risner, Kansas State. For all the talent this team has at the skill positions, the offensive line is an absolute mess. The Texans start revamping that unit by grabbing a key piece in the first round. 24. Oakland Raiders, edge Clelin Ferrell, Clemson. After grabbing an interior threat early in the first round, the Raiders double down and really add to their pass rush by finding an edge guy here. The Oakland defense could get scary in a hurry. 25. Philadelphia Eagles, OT Greg Little, Ole Miss. Offensive line is always a safe way to go. Sure, the Eagles could use cornerbacks or running backs, but they don't feel any are worthwhile at this spot and go with the old-fashioned approach of improving up front. 26. Indianapolis Colts, WR Kelvin Harmon, NC Stat Y. Hilton can't go on like this forever, can he? The Colts find a second big-time target for Andrew Luck, who can eventually fill Hilton's shoes. 27. Oakland Raiders, RB Josh Jacobs, Alabama. Raiders have their quarterback and their stud wideout in Derek Carr and Antonio Brown. Now they try to find their running back. Picking one in the first round is always a risk, but having 3 first-round selections helps alleviate some of that. 28. Los Angeles Chargers, OT Andre Dillard, Washington State. Adding some more protection up front should only help Phillip Rivers and make him more productive as the back end of his career carries along, and the Chargers try to keep contending with him at the helm. 29. Kansas City Chiefs, edge Ja'Kai Polite, Florida's Chiefs defense needs a lot of work. It quite clearly kept them from the Super Bowl last season. Losing D. Ford and Justin Houston makes pass rush upgrades a must. 30. Green Bay Packers, Noah Fant, Iowa. Packers have already added protection for Rodgers, so now they find him a nice, comfortable target. Fant is another terrific tight end and he's particularly good at catching passes. 31. Los Angeles Rams, DL Jerry Tillery, Notre Dame. Sure, the Rams have Donald, but losing Ndamukong Suh will still take its toll. The Rams try to limit the impact of that loss by taking Tillery here. 32. New England Patriots, Tyarv Smith, Alabama. Leave it to the Patriots to take a slightly under-the-radar approach and avoid some sexy names to take what would undoubtedly turn into a genius pick. It's just kind of how they operate. Second round, here's a pick-by-pick look at all 32 selections from the start of Day 2 of the NFL Draft. 33, Arizona Cardinals. WR N'Keal Harry, Arizona State. The Cardinals have their new quarterback, again, so now it's time to supplement that selection with a stellar wide receiver. Harry is a rangy, athletic guy who should be able to snatch passes at the NFL level. 34, Indianapolis Colts. DL Dexter Lawrence, Clemson. Colts offensive line made massive strides last season, and now it's time for the defensive line to do the same thing. Lawrence has all the tools necessary, he just has to start using them more effectively. 35, Oakland Raiders. CB Julian Love, Notre Dame cornerback, is among the Raiders' many needs, so they snatch one up here. Combine that with the other two defense moves they've already made, and all of a sudden the rebuild looks very impressive on that side of the ball. 36, San Francisco 49ers. DL Draymond Jones, Ohio State. The 49ers took an edge rusher in the first round, but they could use one of those trendy interior rushers, too. So they take a risk on Jones, who could use some development. Trade. Arizona Cardinals received no. 37, overall pick. New York Giants received QB Josh Rosen. Analysis. 1 year after picking Rosen in the first round, the Cardinals flip him for a second-round selection in order to move on with Murray. The Giants use Rosen as their QB of the future instead of burning a first-round selection of their own on one of the quarterbacks in this year's class. 37, Arizona Cardinals. OT Adnikahuste, West Virginia. Again, all about helping out the quarterback. The Cardinals give Murray some added protection to go with his brand-new wide receiver with this pick. 38, Jacksonville Jaguars. Edge LJ Collier, TCF. Jaguars' vaunted 2017 pass rush really fell apart last season, but they can start putting the pieces back together going into 2019. 39, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Edge Charles Omenihu, Texas. We've already mentioned the Bucs' need for a serious defensive overhaul, and that continues in the second round, as they add a pass rusher to try and shake things up and make an impact. 40, Buffalo Bills. WR Marquise Brown, Oklahoma. Bills already added a few targets for Allen, like John Brown and Cole Beasley, but that's a sign of just how poor their wideout group was last season. They keep refreshing that group here. 41, Denver Broncos. CB Justin Lane, Michigan State. Fangio continues to turn around his defense by adding a piece to the backfield. Lane helps cover the hole left by Bradley Roby's departure. 42, Cincinnati Bengals. The Chase Winovich, Michigan. After adding to the interior of their line in the first round, the Bengals tack on some edge rushing prowess here. Winovich is a high-motor guy who will bring some needed intensity to this defense. 43, Detroit Lions. WR Riley Ridley. Georgia. Lions don't have a bad wide receiver group, but it's one that seems like it could use a bit more pop. Ridley would provide some presence as a possession receiver. 44, Green Bay Packers. As Nasir Adderley, Delaware. After focusing heavily on helping Rodgers, it's time to flip things around and work on the other side of the ball. Despite being a small school product, Adderley could provide an immediate impact in Green Bay. 45, Atlanta Falcons. LB Mac Wilson. Alabama. Falcons' defense was a sore spot last season and could use some more reinforcement in the second round. What better way to make a quick addition than by picking up an Alabama stud? Wilson is a well-polished player. 46, New York Jets. CB Trayvon Mullen. Clemson's Jets have a glaring hole at their second outside cornerback spot right now, with Darley Roberts currently slotted into that role opposite Tremaine Johnson. Mullen would help cover that hole and give the Jets a more legitimate starter at the position. 47, Carolina Panthers. CB Imani Oruwariye. Penn State. The Panthers resigned Eric Reid this offseason, but their defensive backfield could still use some work. They go with Oruwariye here after being beaten to Mullen by the Jets. 48, Miami Dolphins. C. Garrett Bradbury, NC State. The Dolphins recently signed veteran guard, center Chris Reed, but the interior of this line could still use some work, especially looking toward the future. Bradbury is the top center in this class and would be a nice addition. 49, Cleveland Browns, Jonathan Abram, Mississippi State. The Browns could use some extra help at safety after dishing Jabril Peppers to the Giants as part of the Odell Beckham trade. They go searching for their replacement here. 50, Minnesota Vikings, WRND Isabella Umas. Imagine Isabella alongside Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. The Vikings are well set at those top two wide receiver positions, but badly need a third option, and Isabella would be a terrific complementary piece. 51, Tennessee Titans, edge Jalen Ferguson, Louisiana Titchagan. Some more pass rush pop for the Titans here, as they take a risk on a small school guy who put up crazy, and record-breaking, numbers during his college career. Ferguson may need polishing, but the film is awfully impressive. 52, Pittsburgh Steelers, WR Deebo Samuel, South Carolina. After losing Brown to the 49ers, the Steelers could use some more help at wide receiver to assist Juju Smith-Schuster and provide a security blanket for Ben Roethlisberger. 53, Philadelphia Eagles, CB Isaiah Johnson, Houston. The Eagles didn't target a cornerback in the first round, but they could probably use one here, even after re-signing Ronald Darby. He's only back on a one-year deal and is coming off a torn ACL, so there's no guarantee about his future with the team. 54, Houston Texans, Deontay Thompson, Alabama. The Texans have already done some good work revamping their defensive backfield by signing Tashaun Gibson and Roby, but the project isn't quite complete. Thompson would add some depth and another playmaker to that unit. 55, Houston Texans, CB Michael Jackson, Miami. Again, more DB help for the Texans here, who really go all in to overhaul things in that department. At one point, Jackson was a projected first-round pick, so there's some good value here. 56, New England Patriots, WRAJ Brown, Olmes. Outside of Julian Edelman, Tom Brady doesn't really have many marquee weapons right now. Adding Brown to the picture would change that. He posted monster numbers this past season and would be a big target for the Pats. 57, Philadelphia Eagles, edge Zach Allen, Boston College. The Eagles could use some extra depth in the pass rushing rotation. Allen isn't one of the elite edge guys in this class, but he's certainly still a very good one and can make an impact, especially as part of a strong front, like the Eagles already have. 58, Dallas Cowboys, Juan Thornhill, Virginia. The Cowboys are in the hunt for a safety and need to replace Jeff Heath in that spot. Thornhill could be the solution to that problem, given they've already missed out on the high-profile free agents at the position. 59, Indianapolis Colts, CB Joejuan Williams, Vanderbilt. The Colts could afford to improve their secondary this offseason. While Pierre Desir returned in free agency, Williams could be another building block in the defensive backfield. Desir, Williams and Quincy Wilson could form a talented trio at corner. 60, Los Angeles Chargers, WRJJ Arcega-Whiteside, Stanford. The Chargers lost one of their top targets in Tyrell Williams, so it's time to go shopping for a new wideout. Arcega-Whiteside adds strength and power to the position and will help Rivers by fighting for balls, especially in the red zone. 61, Kansas City Chiefs, LB Voshawn Joseph, Florida Defense. The Chiefs continue their focus on that side of the ball, especially as they switch schemes, by grabbing a new piece to plug into the middle of the unit. 62, New Orleans Saints, DL Jeffrey Simmons, Mississippi State. The Saints find some terrific value here. Simmons tore his ACL just a few months ago, so he may not be a factor in 2019, but he was originally a first-round lock. Getting him this late in the second round is a steal, and will reap dividends in the future. 63, Kansas City Chiefs, CB Rock Ya-Sin, Temple. The Chiefs' only good DB, Steven Nelson, has moved on to the Steelers, so they need help back there. Ya-Sin needs some polishing, but he has the athleticism and tools needed to be a terrific player. 64, New England Patriots, QB Daniel Jones, Duke. The Brady heir apparent? Eventually, the Patriots are going to need a replacement. They grab a cerebral prospect here and stash him behind Brady as the understudy for a few years in the hopes that he'll eventually blossom into another winning QB. Matt Stypulkowski may be reached at mstypulkowski@newadvancemedia.com. Follow him on Twitter at m_Stypulkowski. Find NJ.com Jets on Facebook.